Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I am the owner and author behind townsandhouse.com, where I help you implement systems and strategies in order to overcome the chaos and cultivate simplicity in your home and homeschool. And goal planning is a big part of that, really understanding the life that you want to live and what you are striving for in that life is really important to me. So today I am going to be sharing with you the brand new 2022 PowerSheets Goal Planner. Now, I have been using the PowerSheets, I think, since 2014, so many years now, and they have made a bunch of updates to it, which I'm really excited to go through and look at. So I am going to be turning the camera around and sharing all of my thoughts about the new 2022 PowerSheets. I really do love the PowerSheets and what they stand for and how they help you hone in on why you want to achieve the goals that you have. So let's turn the camera around and get into these brand new PowerSheets. So here are the 2022 PowerSheets. This year, each cover choice comes with its own box to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the PowerSheets Goal Planner. I chose the green cover this year, and I believe that is their special edition for this 10-year anniversary, and it comes in this beautiful green box. It's super sturdy. It has a gold leaf accent. It's perfect to store your PowerSheets when you're done with them or for whatever you want to store something in. It's a pretty sturdy box, but each cover has a different box. So there are 6 choices for cover this year. The green, which you saw a little bit of already. Then there is also Bloom's Natural Linen, which I believe is actually a neutral planner this year, although I haven't seen all of the pages. I think that's what I've heard, that it's a neutral planner. Then there's also Coral Pink, Teal, and Clear Skies, which was one of the cover choices from last year. I had a difficult time choosing between teal and green because those are 2 of my favorite colors. So I did end up choosing green, and I'm very pleased that I did it. It's very pretty. This is the green cover, and it is that linen feel cover. It's very hard and sturdy, and it does come with this gold, I guess they call it an O-ring binding, which is not my favorite, and sometimes it is a little bit challenging to open or flip through the pages, but usually I keep them on one of those cookbook holders, and it sits on top of my shelves in my office, and so it stays open to my tending list pretty much all month, so it's not that big of a deal. If this were something that I was using every day to flip through, this binding would bother me, but it's really not that big of a deal. And it does have the reinforced corners, which is good. And then let's get into this because there have been some changes. I haven't really looked through this at all, but I did notice a few changes. And so I'm really excited to see all of those changes and share them with you. When you open up the PowerSheets, it does have this little pocket on the side. I don't really use this, but if you have some stickers that you want to put in here, that would work well. Or maybe keeping like some postcards or notes, something like that. I'm not big into keeping things in here. I know this is the sticker book from last year, but you could clip off this elastic and just stick the back and then keep your stickers in here too if you wanted to do that. It is a cute feature. I don't really use it. And then when you open it up, it does have this little checklist. Your best year starts here. Order PowerSheets, open your PowerSheets, log into Goal School, complete your prep work, complete your goal setting pages, choose a wildcard page, fill out your first tending list. So it just has a little note from the Cultivate family, which is good, especially if you've never used PowerSheets before. It just kind of gives you an idea of where to go next. And one thing that I'm really happy about is that they brought their My Word of the Year card back. Last year, this was not included in the PowerSheets, and I know there were a lot of people that were disappointed. I was one of those people because I do like to write my word down, and have it out next to my computer so that I can see it. It's very pretty with the gold accent on it. Then it says, hello, fresh start 2022, which is unbelievable to me. I can't even believe we're approaching 2022. I still feel like last year was 2019. So, and this is, this cultivated year belongs to, and you write your name here. And then the first page is some stickers. There's some gold foil stickers, and these flags are also in the sticker book. I didn't get the new sticker book this year. I may purchase it later on, but I haven't purchased it yet. But I do like to color code things. I'm not as good about using the flags as I probably could be. I tend to use just colored markers instead, and that helps me designate which different areas I am working through. Then it has like a little note from Team Cultivate. And then it moves into 2022 goal ideas. So I do have my PowerSheets from this year right next to me. I'm not sure how different they are going to be, but I am hoping that I can tell you some of the differences. But I think that mainly they've streamlined some things, and so I think that's really good. 2022 goal ideas. This gives you just some open space to start to brainstorm some ideas, and this is the first year in probably, oh gosh, like a decade, I think, that I have not really started to think about the next year and my goals. Usually around the beginning of October, I kind of have an idea of what I want to do already for the next year, things that I'm hoping to work towards. And this year, I do not have any idea at all. So this prep work is definitely going to be needed this year. The next pages is comparison isn't just the thief of joy, it's the thief of everything. And this is really just helping you. This About Me page is trying to just help you figure out where you're going. It gives you some ideas, ways you're encouraged, what you want to be known for, what helps me do my best, I feel motivated when, and then how I feel about goals. I think that sometimes goals can be super overwhelming, and the PowerSheets Goal Planner really does help you break them down into much more manageable pieces. And it's not as stressful to me when I'm working through the PowerSheets. Goals can be very stressful to me, especially if you write SMART goals. I think SMART goals are great, but sometimes that time-bound element can stress me out a little bit. And honestly, most of my goals are they're almost they're more relational. I do have some specific things that I like to work towards, especially with regards to my business, but a lot of my goals go back to how I am relating to my family and my faith and my friends, and much more relational. This is just a good start, an About Me page. Then what makes you come alive? Describe how you feel most days. I really like that there are little examples throughout all of the prep work that helps to give you some ideas, because sometimes when you're looking at these questions, it can be incredibly overwhelming, especially if you are new to goal setting or new to the PowerSheets. You're not quite sure what the right thing, quote unquote, to write down is. And it's going to be different for everybody. So some examples on each of the pages, and then little quotes or information. I think that's very helpful. What fires me up? What do you love? You want to write down here things that you're willing to sacrifice your time, resources, and attention for. And that is going to help you with your goal setting, to know what it is that you're really passionate about. And then you move into the cultivated life evaluation, and it seems like maybe they're trying to work the cultivated life evaluation more into the goals this year. It's very pretty. They have changed the colors a little bit for this. Last year there were big block colors up at the top. I do like how it is not as blocky with the color. I don't know how to explain it, but this gives you a chance to write down how you think you're doing in the 8 areas of wellness. I think that's really a great thing to do, because this will help you see, is there a particular area that you do want to spend more time on this year? It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have a goal in all of these areas. And if some of these areas do not apply to you for whatever reason, you could certainly change the categories and have the categories change throughout your PowerSheets instead of these categories. But these are really, I think, pretty general categories that we all want to work towards in our goals. And then you're going to sort of do a review of the last year. Good things, people I'm grateful for, challenges, and what I learned. These are always really important to me. I like to see the good things next to the challenges, because a lot of times we forget about the good things and we are only focused on the challenges because we're goal setting, so we want to improve things, but we don't want to forget about all of the good things that have happened. If you had a difficult year, you certainly want to concentrate on the good things that did happen throughout the year so that you are thinking about life in a more positive light. You don't want to just be concentrating on the challenges all the time. Even if there were little small things, count those in your good things. And then challenges and what I learned. The next page is get ready to break free. We're so quick to limit ourselves, deciding who we are, who we aren't, and what we can and cannot do. Those limiting beliefs are really easy to work into your mind. I think about this a lot as a homeschooler. You're constantly thinking about what you're not doing in your homeschool, and you really ought to be thinking about all of the things that you are doing in your homeschool. So when you have those limiting thoughts about yourself, it can definitely hold you back, and this gives you a chance to break out of your identity box, take those things that you think about yourself. I think one that Laura Casey always uses as an example is she wasn't a financial person, so she didn't think that she could make progress with any sort of financial goals because she just wasn't a financial person. But you don't have to think that way. So you write down the things, that the lies that you believe about yourself, and then you start to make changes of those beliefs. And then who I really am, I'm moving past fear. These days are your legacy. This is really talking about how life is short and you don't want to coast through it. You really want to live every day. And it's sometimes, especially, you can get into cycles where you're just trying to move on to the next thing. And there are definitely seasons like that where you're just trying to get through the days. But you really do want to look ahead and make sure that you're living each day and loving that day. So these days are your legacy, and then it has what applies to you, and then over here the big picture: what will have mattered, what won't have mattered, who do you want to be. And I think when I started using the PowerSheets many years ago, this was a big part of transformation for me, just thinking about what actually matters in the grand scheme of things. And I think that's why a lot of my goals are based in relationships. And so I definitely have changed my thought process about how to get through some of those goals. Now, everybody is different, and there are definitely, like I said before, business goals that I have that actually do relate back to my family and helping provide for them, etc. So those are all included, but the why behind what I'm doing is much more relational than maybe it used to be in the past. And then you're going to go into this big picture vision and living it out this year. And I think this is actually a new section, how they have laid it out. I'm just trying to go through with my power sheets from last year to see. Okay, yeah, so this is a new section, and this is what is your big picture vision for each area of your life? Write out some thoughts about what you want to grow in the long term, and then living it out this year, knowing what matters in the big picture. How can you live like it this year? Close your eyes and envision your most purposeful year yet, then write out some thoughts. So I think this is just trying to help you focus on goals in different areas. And like I said, with the cultivated life evaluation, you do not necessarily have to have things for every single category. And don't be afraid to change these. If for some reason you're not really concerned about goals with friends because you have a great friend group, you guys are connected in community and you are really pleased with that, but maybe you have something else that you want to work on, just cross it out and write a different category. I don't think that you need to be held to these different categories if they don't fit your focus this year. But when you're going through the power sheets, you are going to see where you may want to concentrate more, and what you think going into the power sheets is not always where you will end up. And then you get to my cultivated year, what I'm saying yes to, what I'm saying no to. I love a yes and no list because it really helps relieve decision fatigue. I've talked about this in the past. Decision fatigue is something that we all struggle with. We make so many decisions every single day. And when you have listed out things that you are absolutely going to say no to, it makes saying no in the moment so much easier because you know that you've already given yourself permission to say no to that. One thing that we have said no to for many years now are sports on Sundays because we prioritize going to church. And so when there are sports on Sundays, we know that we cannot participate. And at first it was kind of hard because, you know, you want your kids to be involved in things. But when I put that on our no list, it made saying no a lot easier. So we say no to Sunday activities, and instead we say yes to community and worship on Sunday. And it really is treated as a day of rest for us, which we need. So that's just an example. That doesn't have to be your example, but when you write it down, it gives you permission and it helps you in the moment to be able to say no. And then you get to imagine it, your intentional year, and you go through and you fill out this little page. It gives you references to turn back to so that you can write based on, I am capable of change and I'm deciding that I can. The areas of my life that most need to be cultivated are, and then you turn back to pages 10 and 11 with the cultivated life evaluation, and you look at these places and where did you score yourself really low? And do you want to focus on that area for the coming year? So that's what you do here, and you go through, and there are page references for every single question here. And then you're going to move into, you know what you want to cultivate now, let's do something about it. And this is going to help you figure out how to set your goals. Over here, this is a new page. I can already tell they are focusing more on these areas of wellness, and it has a place for, let's see. It says your goals may fall into different categories based on the amount and type of effort required and the change you desire. Cultivating a mix of these three types will help you live a balanced and intentional year. And so they have habits, finish lines, and big dreams. So habits are rhythms in your life and creating consistency. Finish lines, goals. These goals move you from where you are now to where and who you want to be. They are specific and measurable. And then big dreams. These goals are often new, bold, or life-changing, taking extra effort or a leap of faith to complete. Most of us will set no more than 1 to 2 each year, and they may take several years to complete. And that's something that's really important to remember, especially when you start goal planning. It does not mean that you will finish everything in a year, but it's making those little steps of progress each month that really helps set you on the right path. And then it says set your focus, use the grid below to brainstorm and check off what type of goal, if any, might be needed in each area of your life. And so this is really interesting that they are focusing more on these 8 areas. I think that it'll be interesting to see how people in the community utilize this section. I do not always, in fact, I don't think I ever really use these areas to write my goals. I kind of have some themes, I guess, for my goals, and I guess they would line up in these different categories. But for instance, one of my main goals this year was life-giving home, and so I'm not sure, I guess that might be under family. Life-giving homeschool would also maybe be under family. I don't think it would go under learning. Awesome adulting, maybe finances, maybe some health and wellness. So this is really interesting. I'm not sure how I'm going to use this, but I'm definitely excited to go through this process this year and see how my goals turn out. Like I said, I don't really have anything on my mind at the moment. I don't even start my prep work usually until right after Thanksgiving. So I'll give myself another couple of months to see if I figure out what I'm going to do. We'll see. You know, it's been a crazy couple of years. So then it says, get ready to goal. You know where your focus needs to be. Now let's turn your thoughts into goals. Here's an example of what a habit, finish line, or big dream goal might look like in 2 areas of your life. Remember, you won't set all 3. This is really good. I think that having this breakdown is going to be very important as I'm starting to focus on what I want to focus on for 2022. This says the 2 categories are friends and health and wellness. So habits, call, text a friend daily, send snail mail once a week, plan a get together 2 times a month. Finish lines, make a new friend in our neighborhood, host a favorite things party. Big dream, cultivate relationships from the ground up in our new city. And then health and wellness, habit, strength training 3 times a week, 10-minute yoga before bed, plan meatless Mondays meals. Finish line, switch to a plant-based diet and collect recipes we love, train for and run a 5K. Big dream, complete a 150-mile charity bike ride. So that just gives you a couple of examples on how you're going to use these categories and then the habit, finish line, big dream ideas. Then you move into a rough draft of yearly goals. Simplify your year. Use this page to write a rough draft of your habits, finish lines, and big dreams for 2022, which will get you closer to where you want to be in the big picture. Sometimes when you're writing out rough drafts of goals, you may see that it is something that is not going to work in your current season, and that's okay. There are definitely some goals that I had this year that I have not worked on until the fall. And some things that I thought that I would do maybe in the spring, I just kept pushing off because it just wasn't the right time. And so even if you write some of those goals on here and you know that you're not going to be able to work on them until next fall, that's okay. And then it says, as you draft your goals, consider these points of freedom. Focus on no more than 8 goals. is this goal connected to my why? You don't have to do it all now, which is what I was just talking about. Do I have the budget for this goal? Budget meaning the resources, either the time or the money, to make progress on those goals. I think this is really an important part of goal setting, especially the you don't have to do it all now. A great book to read is The 12-Week Year. This is one of my favorite books on goals. I think that it is more focused on maybe like work goals and stuff, but it is definitely a reread for me most years. It's super short. It's not even 200 pages. So I definitely recommend this. But the main parts of this book are that you really can only focus on 90 days at a time, which is why the PowerSheets is a great option, because it has seasonal refreshes each quarter, which help you to go through and figure out if you need to make changes to your goals. Okay, so then it says my yearly goals, and I'm not sure if you can see this, but it does have a little space to put those flag stickers from the sticker book or from the front sticker page if you would like to color code them. There are 8. They are telling you don't focus on more than 8 goals. So they give you 8 spaces to write out your yearly goals. And then you get to make it easy to remember where to focus. And what is this? Oh, this is talking about choosing your word of the year. Your brain seeks out patterns. When you set a new goal, it's going to rebel, preferring to stay in its comfort zone. Throughout the year, you'll need boosts of energy to push through the inertia and keep up your momentum. A word of the year and vision board can do that for you. They are 2 tools to remind you of where you're headed and what matters most. So make a list of a few possible words that resonate with you, look up the definitions, and then figure out what you want your word to be. And then you can write it on your word of the year card that I've tucked away. And then that will help you as you're moving forward. Now, I always choose my word before I write my goals. I definitely do these pages a little bit out of order because I like to take my word of the year, and that guides me as I'm writing my goals. So my word for 2021 was life-giving, and all of my goals centered mainly around life-giving, and that was based on the Life-Giving book series by Sally Clarkson. She's written several books, The Life-Giving Home, The Life-Giving Parent, and The Life-Giving Table, as well as guides, one-year guides to go with those 3 books. And so that was my main focus for 2021, and that's how I came up with the goals that I wanted to work on. So all of this prep work helps me to figure out what my theme is going to be for the year. And my word of the year is usually based on that theme. I don't usually do a vision board as much as not here anyways. I will do a vision board with my kids right before we start back up with our homeschool. I have a video that I can link for you that shows how we go through and do that. And that helps me with my kids to figure out what they want to work on for the year, as well as homeschool specific things. So I don't usually use this page. I do like to get out a big piece of poster board and do all of the pictures from the magazines and stuff. That's a lot of fun for me. So I tend to do that with my kids in January. But I don't need this part to work on my yearly goals. My theme or word of the year is really what helps guide me the most in my goal setting. So this is, let's take the pressure off. Every goal grows little by little. From day to day or week to week, our goal progress might not look like much, but over time with consistency, our small actions and short-term goals will add up. And that is really important to remember. I think sometimes when we go into goal setting, we are expecting enormous change in the first month, and that is not always the case, especially if you have any sort of challenges that come up along the way. There are always going to be bumps in the road, and that does not have to completely derail your progress. It just means that it's one more thing that you have to step over. But as long as you're consistently working towards that goal, even if you're making very small progress, you are still making progress and you are still moving forward. So it's always important to remember that. And then it has this section, turning challenges into opportunity. Knowing what might stand in your way of achieving a goal empowers you to move past it. It gives you some different challenges that you may face: comparison, isolation, overambition, perfectionism, punishment, postponing, celebration, and then ways you'll turn challenges into opportunities. I think this is a really great addition to the Power Sheets because this gives you a chance to think about how you're going to deal with these challenges when they come up. So instead of comparing yourself to somebody else, if you are really clear about why you have set the goals that you have set, that is going to help you when you see somebody else doing something that you think, oh, that might be fun for me to do. If it doesn't line up with your why at the beginning, it's probably not something that you need to deal with right now. So turning challenges into opportunities, I really like this section. And then you're going to move into the goal action plan. So these are a little bit different than last year. This is going through how to break your goal into smaller manageable items. So it has a place for you to write your goal and why you have this goal, what motivates me to make this happen, the type of goal it is, and the area that it belongs to. You don't necessarily have to use these, but if you are struggling with goal setting, this type of checkbox list is going to help you narrow down on your goal and figure out the steps that you need to take. Then it says resources needed. This plan aligns with my big picture, yes, no list, or word of the year, which is funny. Like I said before, my word of the year really guides all of my goals. So it can definitely have, most of my goals have word of the year, but then sometimes it's part of my yes and no list and big picture as well. Then there's a place to show what success looks like for this goal at the end of 2022, what might happen if I don't start or make progress on this goal, the people who will be positively affected, and how I will have fun with this goal along the way. And oftentimes it's easy to leave this part out of it, but finding little things that you can celebrate along the way for this goal will help motivate you to continue making progress. And then it says, break your goals down. This page is yours to use for notes, brainstorming, mini goals or action ideas, sketching a plan for the next 12 months. And then you can get wild cards from the Goal School library. Last year, they had these sections, what mini goals will help you make progress, and then a mini goal for January through March, and then the action steps needed. I think some of this guidance would be helpful here because sometimes when you just have a blank space, it can be a little overwhelming, but if you really utilize this section, you should be able to come up with some action steps here. And this can be action steps for your entire year. It does not have to just be the first few months. But I think that there are sections in the seasonal refresh to help make changes or add things if you need to. So you have 8 goal action plans, and then you have your yearly overview. And this was a new section from last year where you can take a lot of the action steps that you write down here and plug them into the different seasons. I did not use these pages last year because I had no idea how 2021 was going to go. After 2020, I was a little hesitant to put things further than just a few months on my list, so I didn't use this, but this is a great space if you know that you have specific savings goals or if you have really time-bound items on your list or things that you need to do during a particular season, this is a good place to put this so that when you are filling out your tending list and getting ready for the month ahead, you can look here and say, oh, okay, I know that I have this going on, or this month we have 10 birthdays, and so I'm not going to be able to do so much other stuff with my goals. So that is what this yearly overview is for. And then here it says customize these pages from the wildcard library. I don't typically use the wildcard library. I do have just a notebook that I use for brain dumps. And I have other planning things that I do. I know there's like reading lists and meal prep lists and a bunch of really great ideas for wildcard pages. I already have systems in place for a lot of those things, so I don't need to use them in my PowerSheets. But I will leave a link for those in the description box so you can see what those are in case you are interested. And then you're going to move into the main part of the planner. So the prep work is the big goal setting section where you're figuring out the why and what you want to work on throughout the year. And then it does have tabbed months and different things for each month. So each month you will come in and it says prepare well, important to-dos I'm excited for, on my mind, I'm hopeful that. This is not changed. And then you have this calendar. It is just a blank calendar. I've seen people plug in time that they're going to use to work on their goals. I've seen people use it as like a birthday calendar. I have my own planner, so I don't really use this section as much, but if there are time-bound things that you want to work on, this is a great space for it. You could also use it for like a reading log, if you wanted to write books that you're reading or how many pages or minutes each day. Or, you could use it for meal planning. I mean, you could use it for anything. It's a blank calendar. But I don't typically use this section because I do have other calendars that I use. And then in January, it does have the first month of a new year, and it has all kinds of ideas for the different categories, things that you could work on within those categories if you're looking for ideas, and then a how to make a tending list section. This is really helpful for new PowerSheets users. If you're a little intimidated about writing down all of the things, this will help guide you with that. And then you move into brainstorm your month, monthly ideas, weekly ideas, daily ideas, and where this month's goals are focused. It does say you don't need to touch on all 8 each month, and if you have different categories, that is also okay. And I want to recommend, if these categories do not line up with your goals, just white them out and write your own categories in. I think that is absolutely okay. And then you move into the tending list, and this is very similar to all of the previous tending lists. The one thing that I know that they have made a difference to is making a more defined space between the different weeks. If that is something that matters to you, it is there. It doesn't necessarily matter to me all that much. I do like that they have this habit tracker though. So you have your encouraging words and your priority for the month, and then your monthly action items. These are tasks that you need to complete in the month to work towards your goals. It could be anything. It could be budget. I always put a planning day on my monthly action items. I have this past year, and that is helpful for me to make sure that I am doing my planning day, to make sure that I'm getting all of my homeschool prep, my goal prep, all of my prep work done for the month ahead. Any big task, and you can make a little bit of progress. It doesn't have to be something that you do every day or every week. It's just something that needs to be completed by the end of the month. Then you have weekly action items, and there are 5 check boxes for the weeks, and then daily action items and habits. So for weekly action items, things that need to be done weekly that you need a reminder for to help keep you on track. It could be anything though. I mean, the sky is the limit, obviously. And then for daily action items and habits, these are things that you want to work on every day. Some months I will write like morning routine. And those are the months when I have already been working on my morning routine for a set amount of time and I feel comfortable with it. There are other months where I have to list everything that I want to do in my morning routine, because I have not been successful in a previous month with my morning routine. So any sort of habits that you want to work on can go here. You do not need to fill up every single line. If you do, that's great. If you don't, that's also great. Some months I have a lot and some months I have very little, and it really depends on what we have going on in the month ahead. I take a lot of time on my planning day to really consider the amount of time I have for working on my goals, because I am a homeschooler. A lot of my time gets eaten up by homeschooling, and which is great and I love it. So but it does mean that I have, sometimes my focus is homeschool, especially in the summer when I'm doing my homeschool planning. And then on the back of the tending list is the month in review, and I'm actually happy that they do not have these as colored blocks anymore. So they used to be these colored blocks, and unless I was using a ballpoint pen, it was always smudge for me, which bothered me. So I would have to use a ballpoint pen here, or like a Sharpie pen. But I'm kind of glad that the the block colors are gone for that. And then at the bottom it has an I am saying no to and I am saying yes to for the next month. And that's how it is for each month. Until you get to the refresh. And so there is a refresh each season. Your first one is in April. I don't necessarily do these refreshes when behind whatever tab they are. So this says April, and it'll depend on how the first couple of months go, but sometimes I do my refreshes early. So I do my my summer refresh in right at the end of May, because I think of June, July, and August as summer. And then my fall refresh I usually do in August for September, October, November, and then December is its own beast. It's completely different for me because of the holidays and all of the craziness. So your first refresh is the spring refresh. It is behind the April tab. I do kind of wish they had separate tabs for the refreshes, but it's not that big of a deal. So it says your refresh is here, and then it gives you a chance to write through your cultivated life evaluation check-in. It has a place for you to write your previous score for the different areas, give yourself a new score, and then jot down a couple of things that are important. And this can help you figure out where you want to go for the next few months. It has a try this at home section, which is different for each seasonal refresh. Wish you had an extra 24 hours in the week. There are always 168 hours in a week. This is figuring out how to be more efficient with your time and really using all of the hours that you have for the things that you want to use them for. And then it has a prep work refresh, what I'm saying yes to this quarter, what I'm saying no to this quarter, and then a keep moving forward section, which stays the same each seasonal refresh. Which goal have you made the most progress on so far? What do you feel stuck on? What's holding you back? What would you have to change to move forward? And what might happen if you did move forward? What might happen if you didn't? And then it gives you a place to write your refreshed goals. And it also has a place for a word of the quarter. So this is new, and this is, I think it's new. I don't remember seeing that in any of the other seasonal refreshes that I've done. Let me see. Yes, this was not in the PowerSheets from 2021. This is a nice section. If you have like a theme or some specific focus for the season, I think that's a great thing to put here. And it does give you the space, like I said, to rewrite out your goals or to change them or to make new ones. Whatever you want to do, you can do that here. On some of my seasonal refreshes, I would just write the goals that I was focusing on for the quarter ahead, because I do not focus on all of my goals all of the time. That would be too overwhelming for me. And there are some seasons that I'm more focused on certain things or certain areas of my life than others. So that is what you do here. And then plan for the season ahead. What does this say? This is new. These pages are yours to use for notes, brainstorming, mini goals or action ideas, or sketching a plan for the next 3 months. Download and experiment with different wildcard formats from the Goal School library. Okay, so, all right, so that's interesting. They have taken out, let's see. So last year, for each seasonal refresh, they gave you 8 more of these little action plan sections, which I really liked, and now they do not have them. So this does have a place for you to write your goal and action ideas for the season ahead. So I guess you still have space to work on action plans, but it's not laid out as efficiently as it could be. And perhaps there are these action plan pages in the Goal School library. Personally, I would not print out new plans and put them in here. So I am a little sad that this is not in here because I have used most of these for each season. It does help me to break down my goals for the quarter, to list out the big action steps, and also to be able to go back and see those. So what I actually do for most things is I have a little notebook. It's not right here at the moment, but it's a little Cultivate What Matters notebook, and I use it essentially as a brain dump. So I have different pages listed with my goal ideas or categories, and then I just write anything that I can think of that I want to do within that specific category. And so I will probably end up continuing to use that to write my tending list for the year, but I am a little sad that this isn't going to be part of the refresh this year. But having the space to work on that stuff is good. I wish that maybe we had a couple more pages, like two-page spreads instead of just the 2 pages. And then you move into your April month, which is the same important to-dos I'm excited for, on my mind, I'm hopeful that, your blank calendar, your brainstorming your month, and then your tending list. And that is how it goes throughout the next 3 months until we get to July, and then it has your summer refresh. It has a section for your Cultivated Life Evaluation check-in where you go and you look at your previous refresh, the spring refresh, and you can jot down what your score was for that, and then try this at home. Feel overwhelmed by all that's on your mind. Let's briefly quiet the noise and give our minds a chance to rest and be restored, and some different ideas to have some rest. And then this prep work, refresh, what's firing me up right now. This is great in the summer, to give you some new ideas on things to do. Keep moving forward. This is the same as the spring refresh. And then my refreshed goals and my word of the quarter. And then again, it has plan for the season ahead and break your goals down. And then it moves into July's monthly prep work and into your tending list pages. And then let's see. So then we have August, September. Oh, I love this color. This is really, these are like a heavy cardstock, and these are reinforced tabs. And then you move into your fall refresh and cultivated life evaluation check-in. Try this at home. Are you a morning person? Whether you answered yes or no, you're in the right place. There are a number of practices you can cultivate first thing to make it more likely you'll have days that are joyful, intentional, and productive. And it gives you some ideas to help with your morning routine. Prep work refresh, people I'm grateful for right now. Keep moving forward. My refreshed goals, word of the quarter, plan for the season ahead, break your goals down, and then you move into your October tending list pages. So that is the entire PowerSheets. Actually, I know there's like an end of year page, I think. Yes. So 2022 year in review. You just live a cultivated year. Little by little, you made intentional choices about how you spent your time, the people you spent it with, and the things you tended to. It wasn't perfect, but you lived this year with joy and purpose. Write out a highlight from each month to mark this year in your life. And then it has favorite memory, best thing I read or listened to, best new habit, person I'm most grateful for, most memorable adventure, song on repeat, milestones celebrated, best meal or recipe, biggest chance, goal progress that surprised me, most beautiful sight I saw, and then best blank. For this year in review, I would recommend each month when you do your wrap up for the month, for your month in review, I would take something from this and put it here in that month because it's fresher in your mind. That's just my personal opinion. But obviously do whatever works best for you. So this is the 2022 PowerSheets Goal Planner with the green cover. I'm really excited about it. I've had a really good year of goals. I do have a goal planning playlist. I started making videos each month this year to share my progress, and it's actually helped keep me accountable, and I've really enjoyed doing that, so I plan to do that into the future as well. I like a lot of the changes. The only change that I'm kind of disappointed about is this action plan section after the seasonal refresh, but this was actually 2021 was the first year to have those action plans behind the seasonal refresh. So I think I can make do with what is here and still have a very successful year. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments. This will be available on October 6th. That is when they will go on sale. And yeah, I would love to hear what cover choice you are most interested in. And thank you guys so much for watching. I would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.